Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. We gotta talk about this AEW Dynamite. Oh my god. Poor Edge. We can't even call him Edge anymore. I think he shed that Edge skin tonight. He came out as Adam. We gonna address him as Adam because his mama named him Adam. But before we get there into the rest of this show, we gotta talk about these AEW releases. So AEW released 10 talent, many of whom I don't really care about. But I'm still going to discuss this thing anyway. In the midst of everybody standing up for AEW and everybody attacking AEW, Tony Khan grew a set and started shaving people off the roster. Now, we heard that the releases were a call by the new COO, a person by the name of Kirby or Irby or something like that. And they basically made the argument that we don't need these people, or what are we paying them for, or we need to shore up some roster space. And so they tossed 10 talent. A lot of them, again, don't really matter. But the AEW fan base were pretty upset. Now, one of these talent went on social media and didn't really try to put AEW on blast, but still kind of put AEW on blast. Now, this guy is by the name of Slim J. Do I know anything about Slim J? I do not. I'm not even going to hold you up. I'm not going to lie. I'm not about to sit here and virtue signal and say I'm the biggest fan of Slim J. I don't have no idea who this person is. But I read this series of tweets after he was released from AEW, and I legitimately felt bad for him. Now, apparently this guy does a white rapper gimmick or something like that, where he looks like, Grandmaster Sexay or something like that. It looks kind of dumb, but whatever. His set of tweets says, quote, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to have worked for AEW. Unfortunately, yesterday was no April Fool's joke. I appreciate Arya Davari for always bringing my name up and believing in me. Caprice Coleman, you always put me over, as did William Barons. Thank you. Thank you to the fans that supported me. My gimmick was trash. I get that. I knew that. My work wasn't, though. I worked my shoot job through both contracts with AEW. My role there was to act rich. I've always been far from that in real life. Promise that. All I wanted to do once I was signed was to get my wife and daughter out of the shithole we live in. They're my everything by far. I failed. Doesn't mean I quit. Not at all. Mouths to feed and I'm broke as fuck. So I'm looking for a second job. Stop sleeping on me." This has led a lot of people to ask, what the hell are they paying people in AEW? Now, this guy is far down the card. He's way down the card. So he's probably on a per appearance deal, which seems fair for a guy nobody knows. It seems fair for this guy to have some kind of per appearance deal. I think I may have seen him on Dynamite, may have seen him on Collision once. He said his gimmick was to act rich. I don't know. He said his gimmick was trash. I don't know. Nobody knows who this guy is. But I'll tell you that tremendous sympathy from me. As, I think everybody has been where this guy is. He's out here trying his best. He's got a family. And a lot of people like me who say, who the hell is this guy? Why does Tony have this guy on the roster? That's a good question. It's a legitimate question. But we do have to take into account that there are real people on the other end of these contracts. And why I say Tony Khan's overpaying most of these talent, why is this happening? You do have to ask the question sometimes, is it better for these dudes to just be broke and jobless? No. But apparently AEW was a second job for this guy. He might have some other means of income. It was, again, wrestling on a per appearance basis. I feel sorry for him. And of all the people who was released on April the 1st, he's the only guy I saw and felt bad for. People was talking about Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry is almost 40 years old. He spent most of his life on the indies. I get it. He's injured. I think right now a lot of people are upset that he was released. Who cares? It doesn't. He'll find a way. He'll be fine. TNA will pick him up. Maybe Slim J will get picked up by TNA too. Maybe he's young enough to end up in the Performance Center. We don't know. Anthony Henry has already been fired from WWE. He was brought in during the Evolve purchase, and that didn't last very long. But this Slim J guy, I feel bad for him. Legit, was thinking like, man, of all the salaried guys who you probably say Tony Khan just keeping them around for no good reason, getting rid of some of the paid by appearance guys seems kind of bogus. But okay, hey, he could have fired 30 Slim J's and wouldn't have made no difference to this roster, especially when you look at what he's doing with the talent that he's paying a lot of money to. Now, I do want to mention Dasha, because Dasha getting released was humorous, because a lot of people I didn't know truly hated Dasha because she was so bad at ring announcing, and she was the ring announcer for Collision. She most notably has had quite a few botches in her ring announcing. She was not very good. She is also a person who has been fired from WWE already. She used to be in NXT. But everybody kind of laughed because she's been notoriously not good for a long time, but most people have not said anything about it because she was on Collision and nobody watches Collision. So it was still fun to see that she had gotten released. But all right, that's enough about the releases. I mean, we're not going to go through everybody. I'm just getting warmed up here. So let's talk about this Adam Copeland ass promo right here. All right, my man Tony Khan really let Adam Copeland go out there, and he's going out sad. Man, this promo was like 15 minutes of cope. That's why I have no problem calling it the Adam Copeland promo. It's not an Edge promo. This is an Adam Copeland. He's out here sounding like a mark. Let's be honest. Of course, this was a response to the CM Punk MMA Hour Ilya Helwani interview. Okay? CM Punk and Adam Copeland are two different people with two different temperaments that are having two different experiences in AEW. What we seem to be having here is that fans, people like you and me, we tend to think that if somebody is having a tough time, that means everybody's having a tough time. I'm just going to veer off just a little bit. There has been some talk about Nickelodeon. And a lot of people have been talking about Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider, and how so many of the underage actors and actresses were mistreated, maybe put in positions where they could be fetishized by this guy. And then people who that stuff never happened to, they speak up and say, hey, that's really sad, man. I hate that those guys had that experience. I didn't have that experience. What was that? Clarissa Explains It All. She came out and did this whole thing. She's almost 50 years old. She came out and did this whole thing where she was like, that's just not my experience. And people attacked her because she didn't get molested or fetishized or anything like that. And she didn't have a bad story to tell. Becky Lynch, when she says, oh man, I hate that Ronda Rousey is having such a difficult time in WWE. I can't believe other people are having such a rough time. She gets attacked because it's believed that if one person has a bad experience, then everybody has to validate that bad experience and everybody has to buy into it. No, it's not. People have different experiences. What might fit somebody else might not fit you. Okay? This promo was about, oh my God, the guy we put on the pedestal to be the top guy, one of the faces of AEW, went out there, has left the company, embroiled in mess. He left the company, went on this podcast, and just absolutely destroyed us. We need to have somebody go out there and do the RAH-RAH speech. So they send Adam Copeland out there, because everybody knows, like, this thing has been seen as they traded Edge for CM Punk. It was unofficial, but they traded. CM Punk's going to end his career in WWE, and Edge is going to end his career in AEW. And so their belief is, well, they're about equal. So maybe if Edge goes out there and validates AEW, it'll knock some of that negativity of CM Punk off of the conversation. But let me tell you something. You're incorrect. That's not how this works. Because CM Punk had direct experience with some of these people. He worked in a different capacity than Edge did. So he had a different relationship with Tony Khan. Had a different relationship with the Young Bucks. Edge could talk about how much he loves these guys and how much he appreciates them and how much he celebrates them and all this kind of crap. That does not change CM Punk's experience. It does not invalidate what CM Punk said. It's just a different perspective. That's all it is. You brought a different perspective on this situation, which is fine. I'm all for AEW defending themselves. I don't think it should have took 20 minutes to do that. I don't think you should have had Edge do it. It should have been somebody else. And that was my big issue, is that when it comes to do the RAH-RAH speech to big up AEW, it wasn't Danielson, it wasn't Moxley, it wasn't Jericho, it wasn't an AEW original, it wasn't the Young Bucks, it wasn't Tony Khan, it was Edge, who wasn't even there when all this shit was going down with CM Punk. He wasn't even there. So how could he invalidate what CM Punk is saying? He was not even present. He came after that shit was already blown over. All right? He came late. He wasn't there. If there was a guy who was there, if it had been Orange Cassidy, let's say, I still would say you probably don't even need to respond to what CM Punk is saying. I understand why you responded to it, but you don't need to. But Orange Cassidy, at least he was there. He's been there from the beginning. He could talk about AEW in depth or whatever. But Edge has been there for a cup of coffee. He ain't even been there that long. He has not been there as long as CM Punk was in AEW. I mean, come on. And he's a different person with a different temperament. We talked about this when he came in. He's probably not going to have the same reaction as CM Punk is going to have. For starters, Edge was not sitting at home and, wasn't talked into coming back. He was wrestling. He wanted to wrestle more. He's here to wrestle. He talked about all the people he wanted to wrestle in this promo, and that was cool. I guess. But ultimately, nothing Edge said can invalidate CM Punk's negative experiences with the Elite, with the failure of Collision, with dealing with Tony Khan, with dealing with Jack Perry, because Edge has never had to do all that stuff. Apparently, they're not even asking Edge to do all that stuff. They are asking him to go out there and do the RAH-RAH speech, though. So, look, it's fine if you liked it. A lot of other people who are listening to this, Eddie Kingston says he didn't even listen to the CM Punk promo. He doesn't care. He cares about the people who were released, which is one of those, we need to focus on the victims, guys. Believe all women, guys. Just talking in slogans. Which for a guy from the street is like, yeah, we talking slogans. Tony Schiavone. I didn't hear that. I don't care what he has to say. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Cody Rhodes took up for AEW at the very next day. Said that he, appreciates everything that these guys did. He has done nothing but spoke positively about AEW, except for he didn't like how, Brandy was treated. He seemed to get real choked up about that, but it didn't go into, as far as I know, he didn't go into any detail about, what happened and what took place with Brandy. But everybody don't need to stand up and take up for AEW. All right. It was a criticism for a guy who had a bad experience. People are allowed to have bad experiences. Not everybody's going to love you. Some people are going to criticize you. Some people don't like you. And that's okay too. Just keep doing the best that you can do. But it was Tony Khan who clearly saw that his audience was demoralized from the CM Punk thing. You know, probably feeling demoralized himself that CM Punk called him a clown and was going after him the way that he did. There's already an army of fans who are acting like they need a prayer vigil because CM Punk didn't like being in AEW and he roasted the company. It's Cope. So, yeah, maybe that was the reason why Edge was sitting out there, because he's been calling everything he does Cope. The Cope Open. So Cope opened the show to cope about people not liking the show. To cope about people not liking the company. That's what he came to do. That's sad business, man. That's sad. That's not good. That's not good. He's talking about this is this place is fun, the most fun place he's ever worked. You know, the best locker room. He'll put that up against any locker room ever. I'm pretty sure it made everybody feel great that, Edge was going off the way that he was. I'm pretty sure everybody was extremely excited. But I sat there and with my head in my hands, thinking to myself, man, this is sad. This is as pathetic as the stand-up for WWE stuff. All they did is make t-shirts. Just make some t-shirts. And then when he goes out there, Tony Khan had to give him this directive. Had Edge look right into the goddamn camera and say, this is AEW, we're the best wrestle. Which is a silly tagline that he created, Tony Khan created, in order to sort of mock Eric Bischoff. Because, WCW, where the big boys play, we're the best wrestle. For starters, that's an awful tagline. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Second, it didn't seem to fit at all what he was trying to say. So I looked at this thing. I just said, chuck it in the bin. Poor Adam. I see what he's trying. He's trying to protect that paycheck. Poor Adam. Did he get into Gorilla and then Tony Khan hugged him lovingly, tightly, burying his chest into his ribs? Like, Adam, thank you. Come on, man. Ugh. Don't do this. You are better off ignoring it, or when Tony Khan himself does an interview, just say, hey, AEW is not for everybody. There's going to be people who had bad experiences. It's like anywhere. It's just like dealing with anybody. Some people love you. Some people don't like you. Some people love the place that they work. Some people work right next to them and hate the job. You can't force everybody to like everything. Only thing you can do is does the criticisms make sense? Or is the person being super sensitive? That's what the AEW fans think. They think CM Punk is being super sensitive. Oh, why is Phil thinking about this so much? It's like he was asked about it. That's why he's talking about it so much. Everybody's like, why Ariel Helwani keep asking all these people about AEW? Because CM Punk said that the company is a clown show and that Tony Khan isn't a real boss. So he decided he's going to ask Josh Barnett. Hey, what do you think? You've been around for a long time. You've worked in like New Japan and you've done some pro wrestling stuff. What do you think about Tony Khan? Cody Rhodes, you were there. You helped start the company. What do you think about what CM Punk? These are perfectly respectable questions. These are just like when these folks continuously ask them over and over again about Vince McMahon and what do you think about the Vince McMahon lawsuit? Who cares what these wrestlers think? But it's a solid question, especially if you know him. You want to ask the question. Okay, fine. If people give AEW a glowing, hey, I'm glad I had that experience, or it didn't quite work out for me, or whatever the case may be, that's just the answer that they give. It ain't personal. They're talking about their experience. And that's all Punk did was talk about his experience. Ronda Rousey is talking shit about WWE right now. A bunch of people want her to shut up because she's trying to sell a book. She's talking about her experience or her interpretation of events. That's fine. Other people have different interpretations of events. People had different experiences. I can't we don't need to debate this. One person's experience is not the whole. Hundreds of people come in and out of these companies every day. Some days are better than others. Even CM Punk said that his experiences with AEW were more positive than negative. You didn't need to respond to that. He talked about these specific incidences where he was dealing with these specific people. Come on, man. Could have just ignored it. Could have just moved on. Speaking of moving on, we're finally going to move on. So, after Edge comes out there begging and pleading like he sweat, then he introduced Will Ospreay. So, Will Ospreay is going to come out there and he's going to wrestle Powerhouse Hobbs. And Will Ospreay beat Powerhouse Hobbs. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? After the match, Callis has to get between Ospreay and Hobbs because Hobbs is pissed and he wants to tear the head off of Will Ospreay, what he just had the chance to do and he didn't do it. So just knock his ass out again because that's what you just did. Don Callis is on commentary calling Will Ospreay the crown jewel of the Don Callis family and all that junk. I don't know where they're going with this. I guess eventually they're going to have Will Ospreay turn on Don Callis, but he's beaten everybody in the family already. I don't know what's going on, man. It don't matter. Danielson comes out because he's about to wrestle a gigantic 6'8" sack of shit called Lance Archer. He prods Will Ospreay and then proceeds to almost bore me to death for who knows how long as he wrestles Lance Archer. Look, Lance Archer is shit. He's been shit since like 2003. Like, I know a lot of people have been, Jedi mind tricked into thinking that he was cool in Japan. They're lying to you. Understand, 99% of that they were great in Japan is lies. The Japanese just care about work rate. They don't care about anything else. So, outside of a pool of maybe 100 guys, if they can only get over in Japan, they're bums. I hate to think that people like Scott Norton, people like Giant Bernard, if he's not over in the United States, he sucks. I don't know what more to tell you. Danielson beat this guy. Who cares? How's that going to further his storyline with Will Ospreay? Is Will Ospreay now going to want to fight Lance Archer? I'm going to fight Lance Archer, bruv, because Danielson's shoes too small, bruv. I don't know. Jericho comes out there. What's up with this Lionheart shit? Why is he still doing this? Apparently him and Hook don't trust each other. Hook got them a tag team match. They're going to wrestle, checks my notes, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. Moving on. Jay White wrestles Billy Gunn for what seemed like an Iron Man match that ends in disqualification. Look, Jay White was brought to AEW as, just like I was just talking about Lance Archer, like Will Ospreay, super over in Japan, big star in Japan, brought to AEW. AEW then proceeds to just shovel him with dirt. I mean, he's not even buried. He's standing up and just getting dirt thrown at his ankles. He's going to just stand there like Card Blade and just get covered in dirt every week. Billy Gunn is 60. He's twice the size of Jay White, and Jay White can't beat him. What is this? He should have beat him in 3 or 4 minutes flat. Look, yes, Billy Gunn looks great. But all you got to do is tell everybody that he's 60 years old. Jay White is in his prime. He's like 31 or something like that. He should have run circles around Billy Gunn until that big bulky frame gets a little husky. 3-4 minutes, boom, Blade Runner, pinned him, whatever. Or pull the tights, poke in the eye, something. But the idea that he lost the match by disqualification is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And people thought that he was better off in AEW. If he was in WWE, he'd be wrestling The Miz. He can't beat 60-year-old Billy Gunn. Of course, we get more of this never-ending shit between Billy Gunn and his sons. This feels like it's been going on forever. It's like the Young and the Restless at this point. The sons beat up the Acclaimed. That distracts Billy Gunn, but it doesn't lead to the finish, so why do it? The boys then come to the ring as Billy Gunn goes to get a chair. They protect Jay White Then they hit Billy Gunn in the nuts. He gets disqualified. Jay White does. But the fight continues. The Acclaim, they survive. They're back up. They fight. They fight and fight and fight. Fight. And then the Guns and Jay White run off. This is dead. It's over. Who cares about any of these people? This sucks ass. All right. Next, we get Willow Nightingale. She's going to cut a promo. She's going to talk. All right. I sat there and was like, man, this is probably going to be cringe. And it wasn't terrible. She's obviously not comfortable cutting promos. And she talks in like a normal voice. So it's not like a wrestling promo. But basically she was saying that the crowd made her feel welcome. The crowd reassured her that a chubby, what'd she say? Chubby, curly-haired freak like her. It's like, are you serious? She might be a big girl, but she is very cute and very bubbly. And everybody likes Willow. I know she wants to be all, I'm quirky and, and all that kind of stuff. But she's a very normal girl. Extremely normal. I failed to see what's so quirky and weird about it. It's not like she got like one of those, like weird tattoos or like weird piercings or anything like that. She's not like some kind of alternative goth girl or something like that. She talks about it like she's like a Cabbage Patch Kid or something. Like, oh, I'm so kind of freak and I don't know if I belong here. What the hell are you talking about? So, oh yeah, Chris Statlander, she was there too. She looked like she got done filming The Matrix. I don't know what the hell she had going on over there. Anyway, here comes the $10 million girl, Mercedes, with her personal private dressing room that I'm hearing that she has. I think that there's a lot of people out there really trying to drive this wedge that Mercedes got all these perks and eventually going to drive a wedge in that locker room, especially if this stuff is true. We don't know if any of this shit is true. But she supposedly got in a private dressing room now. I'm like, okay. So she comes out to get in the face, I guess, of Willow Nightingale. And her hair is a disaster. It just looks like it got colored by a 5-year-old who don't know that, hair should be one solid color. In any event, she comes out and she wishes Willow Nightingale good luck. And then says that she's going to challenge for the TBS title at Double or Nothing. I looked at my screen and I'm going back into my mind and I said, they said that she makes at least $10 million. That's what the reports have been. She has neither confirmed nor denied this, but that's the reports. Do you pay somebody $10 million and then stick them firmly in the mid-card? Is that what you would do? That's not what I would do. I would not pay somebody $10 million. I would not pay somebody $5 million and then stick them firmly in the mid-card. I would not do that. I would not do that. Is Tony Khan the kind of person who would do that? Apparently. Now, some people think that she's not going to wrestle a match before this point. I think they're going to... Look, they already got called out because the ranking system is like, how can she just challenge the champion? How can she do that? What about the rankings? People forgot about that shit already. My guess is that she's going to wrestle a match or 2 or 3 in order to get that title match because there's plenty of time for them to fill that part in. But telling everybody that she's going to be the TNT champion or the TBS champion is absolute basura. Why would you pay somebody so much money just to be a mid-carder? It's a waste of time. Waste of resources. Just a terrible waste of resources. And then got her wrestling people that aren't interesting. Look, I think Willow is cute. I'd take her on a date. But I'm not sure if I care enough about Willow and Mercedes feuding. If they want me to care, they're going to have to do something spicy real quick. I'm talking real quick. All right. The Young Bucks. They beat the Best Friends. Who cares? I didn't even watch this. I did see that on the Twitter machine that one of the Young Bucks, I believe it was Matt Jackson, looked straight into the camera and told the Scapegoat that he loved his work and gave him a wink. Because, the Young Bucks, they never mention, the CM Punk stuff anymore. They never talk about it. In any event, Trent Beretta's mom was there again. She was at ringside. So when he got pinned, he got mad and decided he was going to attack Orange Cassidy. The crowd reacted in the way that you would expect them to react, which is with a lot of boos. But at the same time, I looked at that and said it was obvious. It was very obvious, especially after the match, that he was going to turn. You know, his mom was there like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But a heel turn in front of your mom is at least interesting. That's original. But who cares about Trent Beretta? We know this not going anywhere. He's not going up the card. To do what? To lose to Roderick Strong or something like that? Who cares? Now, speaking of spicy. Oh, there's a lot of spice here on Collision. Toni Storm kissed Mariah May in the mouth on Collision. Now, there's nothing I like more than shit like that. That got a huge pop out of me. Huge pop. Two beautiful women kissing. Huge pop. And what did they follow that up with? Mariah May losing to Thunder Rosa. Which we all knew she was going to lose, so I'm not like surprised. But I do more shit like that. Do more women kissing each other. Maybe Mercedes needs to kiss Willow, and that might be interesting. Might be more interesting than whatever it is they plan to do. Just have them make out. Shit, Vince did that in 2003. He didn't know what to do with these chicks. Just go out there and make out. Just go kiss each other. Shit, who cares? Nobody wants to watch you fight. Everybody want to watch you kiss. So whatever. So let's talk about this next thing here. Penta El Zero Miedo. He calls out Edge. I like this. I like Penta. I know he's over the hill, kind of washed out. It's been 5 or 6 years since he did anything really good, but he's still over with me. So Samoa Joe and Swerve, they had the contract signing. The only thing about this that really stood out was Samoa Joe's promo, with Samoa Joe saying that he's going to leave mental scars on Swerve, like he left Diddy's party too late. And I was like, oh my God. And that man was wearing eyeliner at the same time. I'm like, you talking to a man wearing eyeliner right now? He wearing eyeshadow right now. Oh my God. They ended up fighting, of course, to which Swerve tried to choke Joe with a chain, but Samoa Joe was built like a battle toad, so he ain't got no neck. Joe beat his ass, made him bleed, hit him with the chain a bunch of times. Swerve got on the microphone and said, "This is the best you got. I'm going to take that title from you." Dipped the ink pen in his blood, signed the contract. Joe came back, whooped his ass again, and slammed him through the table. Samoa Joe ends the show standing strong, and it was kind of pedestrian. I liked the promo at the end where Swerve was basically like, "You're going to have to do more than this to keep me down." I like that. Show some grit, show some fire. The crowd was really behind that. So I like that too. Other than that, though, this thing was completely pedestrian. All right. So that's the show. This show sucked, as usual. You got Mercedes, who she's been in the company all of 4 weeks. She's done nothing of note. She then made it known that she's not going to do anything of note until May, at the very least. Edge comes out there begging and pleading, which is sad, disgusting, and Swerve bled. So that's pretty much the show in a nutshell. All right, if you got this far in the show, I got to tell you, April the 4th, it's the same every year. It's MongoSlade's birthday. Thanks, everybody, for the happy birthdays that I know are coming. Thank you all very much. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah. We just gone.